Hi my loves, it's Lucid Summer and welcome back to my channel. Today's really exciting because this is my first ever speed build here on YouTube. I have built over on my Twitch streams before, but if you've seen me build over on Twitch before, you'll know that I am not a great builder by any means. So if you can't already tell, I did end up getting a build off the gallery for this apartment and then just refurnished it and kind of redesigned it a little bit to make more sense for Cleo and Daisy, which of course is the Sims that are going to be living in this apartment. So before we get too much into the refurnishing, I do want to give a shout out to the original creator of this build, which is Lucid. If you don't already know her, which I'm sure many of you do, I will have her linked in the description box below, but she is an incredible Sims creator and her videos are so soothing to watch. I definitely recommend checking out her channel and checking out her builds as well. And if you'd like to check out this specific build, it is in the gallery titled Large Family Apartment, again by Lucid, and I will have all that information down in the description box below. I did decide not to re-upload this build onto the gallery because it's so similar to the original, but I will be linking all of the CC that I use in this build down below if you want to check any of that out. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone that partook in the giveaway in my last video. I did just announce the 2 winners for that giveaway over on Tumblr as well as here on YouTube on my community tab, so if you'd like to check that out, you can. And of course, thank you again to the EA Creator Program for giving me these codes to share with you guys. I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am for you guys to see this speed build and to get your opinions on how the apartment turned out and everything. I am obsessed with how this apartment turned out personally, and I am so excited to actually start filming episodes again and start playing with this family because I've still yet to do that. I did try to push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit for this build. I wanted it to be a lot more colorful than what I'm used to, especially for Daisy and Cleo. I feel like they're very creative, colorful girlies, so I definitely needed to tap into that a little bit. I did end up changing the wallpaper back to like a true brick because I actually think that pop of color ended up looking really nice, and it kind of went with the color theme that I ended up going for. I decided to go with a yellow, orange, pink color theme and green as well, but I leaned into the green more when it comes to the plants than actual furniture. To be honest, I didn't really think too much about this color palette for their apartment. I just thought it would look nice and kind of match their vibes a little bit. But once I got a little more into building, I realized that the color palette I picked for this apartment is literally the colors of the lesbian pride flag, which I thought was so funny. Maybe not exactly, but the colors are very similar, and I just think that's such a funny coincidence. Also, I do feel like that's something that Daisy and Cleo would actually do. I absolutely loved the lived-in vibe that the apartment already had. Lucid is so good at cluttering apartments and making them feel really lived in for your Sims, and I feel like Cleo and Daisy really needed that. They're definitely not very minimalist people. They would definitely have a bit of clutter in their lives, especially with a kid on the way. Surprise if you forgot or didn't already know. But you will see me furnishing a nursery later on, so I guess it's not that much of a surprise. And if you don't already know, as per the challenge rules for this legacy challenge, this generation is only going to have 1 child. So it was actually a lot easier to furnish this apartment and kind of plan the bedrooms knowing that we're only going to have 1 child. I feel like usually my Sims end up having way more kids than I initially intend, and it always makes it so complicated when it comes to rooms and where we're going to put them in the house and having to move and make additions. So it was nice to furnish this apartment knowing that they're here to stay and they won't have to move into a bigger place with more bedrooms or anything like that. Also, watching this speed build back right now, I'm realizing just how chaotic my build style is. I do want to hopefully do more speed builds in the future, so this is something that I need to work on, but I feel like my camera is just going all over the place, and like I just have such a hard time focusing on one thing when there's an entire apartment that needs to be refurnished. So I hope it's not too bad for you guys. Also, I am going to be linking a couple mods along with the CC that I used, but I did use the tool mod in this build as well as the Better Build By mod. Both mods are by Twisted Mexi and they are incredible. Like I said, I don't build very often, but when I do, I absolutely need these mods installed in my game. They just make everything so much easier, so I highly recommend downloading those if you do use mods. I will say there is something so satisfying about watching a speed build back and just seeing everything come together so quickly. Watching this back right now, I feel like I'm forgetting all of the frustration that I had when I was actually building. You'll see this in a little bit, but once we get to the living room, I had the most difficult time with the console, I think it's called, the wooden shelving underneath the TV. You can see in the video that I changed it a few times, and it honestly doesn't look like that much of a struggle when I watch it back, but in the moment, it was so frustrating. I like genuinely had to take a break from picking one out because I was getting so annoyed. I felt like nothing was looking right, nothing was fitting right. If I could have extended that living room just one more tile out, it would have been the perfect amount of space for the consoles I wanted to use. But of course, since this is an apartment, good old apartments in The Sims 4, I was unable to do that and limited, but I actually really like the one that I ended up using, and I think it looks really good in there, so all in all, it's okay. Speaking of builds, since I actually haven't mentioned this in a while, I actually have a hashtag on the gallery, which is hashtag Lucid Lots, as well as the hashtag Lucid Sims. And if you ever want to upload anything onto the gallery for me to see or even for me to use in my game, definitely upload either households, rooms, lots, whatever it is, using those hashtags. I haven't looked at them in a while, and I'm really excited to, because I love looking at your guys' creations, and we also have a lot of very, very talented builders in this community. And especially when I used to do Twitch streams, I would take builds and Sims off the gallery from those hashtags all the time to use. And again, even if not, I just like seeing your guys' creations, so definitely go ahead and use those hashtags. As much as I ended up loving furnishing this apartment, I'm usually not in this creative build mode mood, so I'm sure there will be future generations for this legacy where I'll end up taking lots off of the gallery, and I would love for those to be from you guys. So I'll probably do more reminders when we're moving on to new generations, but I'm already thinking about like Gen 4 for the Lucid Legacy Challenge is a sim that kind of like backpacks around. One of the rules is that they live in a unique kind of house, and my intention for that was kind of like having your sim live in a trailer or an RV or a campground, or I think a tree house was one of the suggestions that I made in the challenge rules, which I love the idea of, but I already know that I'm not a good enough builder to execute my vision, so I'm definitely going to need to use some of your guys' builds for that generation. I feel like this generation of the challenge is so in my comfort zone. Like, I feel like my Sims are always living in San Myshuno, usually working from home. They even usually have a kind of similar style to Cleo and Daisy. So I feel like this was a good generation to get back into gameplay with, but I'm also really excited for the future generations and to actually step out of my comfort zone and do something different in the game, especially with all of the new packs coming out, like fairies, finally. I still cannot believe that we're getting fairies in the game. I'm hoping that I'll be able to return to Twitch before the new fairies expansion pack comes out, but honestly, that all has to do with troubleshooting on my computer, so I don't want to promise anything and then not be able to. But regardless, I am getting early access to the pack, so I will be making some content for you guys and exploring the new pack, and I'm so excited for that. Let me know what you guys want to see in regards to the new pack from me as well. I don't know if I want to do a review style video on the pack, an overview style video where I go through all of the assets. I was thinking I could do kind of like a short-term let's play just to do with the pack because I love when people do those. And honestly, if you guys want to see all 3 of those videos, then I could absolutely do all of them. So let me know what you'd be interested in watching down below. I'm not a big occult player personally, but I feel like just doing a one-off short let's play with this pack and really diving diving into the fairy vibes would be so much fun. I'm also going to be doing another giveaway with that pack once it comes out, so definitely stay tuned for that as well. Getting back to the build, I literally cannot wait to hear what you guys think of Daisy's office. I should be starting building that soon in the video, I believe, but I am obsessed with how it came out. Something about it is giving very like 70s vibes. I did a lot of like orange and green and beige for the colors, and I also did a lot of cutesy little decor. We have a pride flag up. There's this little mushroom lamp that I am so obsessed with. I even end up putting this little wall clock in the office that's a daisy, and that's just too cute. I couldn't resist using it in her office. I almost ended up using a daisy rug as well, but I tried to pull it back a little bit. I wanted to keep it cute and kind of not go into tacky territory, but I just love how it turned out. There's a lot of plants also on the wall. I feel like Daisy is such a plant girl when it comes to the aesthetic, but when it comes to caring for plants, I feel like she would rather not. Especially growing up on the farm and being squeamish and everything, I feel like she does not want to deal with the dirt, like watering the plants. I feel like it would just remind her of doing chores when she was younger. So in my head, it's definitely canon that all of Daisy's plants are fake plants and they're purely just for aesthetic. I also tried to use a lot of the old CC from her desk in her last apartment. I tried to set up her office to look like she's kind of expanding all of her gadgets and her PC and things like that. So I got her a bigger computer that has another little laptop on the side as well as a tablet. We have, I believe, the same video recording computer. I forget what it's called. But that is the same that she had in her old apartment, as well as like the ring lights and the desk itself and stuff like that. So I tried to do a little bit of a mix of new CC and old CC. And of course I had to use the same desk. I am obsessed with this Octave desk. I love that you can slot multiple computers and multiple chairs at it. And I also just love the minimal style. I feel like it goes with almost every build since it's just a glass top with the wooden legs. I just love it so much. Of course, this whole office is for Daisy's job and her passion, which is video games, but we still have Cleo to think about. And like I mentioned in their speedcasts, which if you haven't already seen, I will link down below, but we do still need to find a job for Cleo. I did mention in that video that I was hoping to do a small business, and I mentioned that maybe we could do a cat cafe in the city, and a lot of you guys seem to like that idea, which I am obsessed with. I already definitely saw Daisy and Cleo adopting a cat at some point, but I think it would be so cute for them to run a cat cafe / adoption agency. Like in my mind, it's cats that need to be rehomed and they kind of stay at the cafe waiting to get adopted, and Cleo and Daisy take care of them. And I feel like there's no way they would do that without falling in love with a cat and ending up adopting one. Also, I didn't even realize when I was doing the voiceover for their speedcast, but Cleo actually has the cat lover trait. I can't remember if that was autonomous or if I ended up giving her that, but regardless, it fits the storyline perfectly, so I think that's what we're gonna do. Of course, if you don't remember in-game, in this save, Daisy is very pregnant and about to pop any minute now. So I kind of want to get through the newborn and infant stage with our Gen 3 sim before we add a cat into the mix and adopt an animal. But that is kind of the idea for the future, so let me know what you guys think about that. Our Gen 3 sim for this challenge is meant to be like a little more spoiled when they're growing up. Maybe not intentionally, but I feel like Daisy would just do anything for her kid, and we're definitely gonna see that once the baby is born. But I feel like Daisy would definitely go crazy with the birthday presents for her kid, so I can see her getting the baby a cat as like a present, maybe when they age up into a toddler, and having it be like their cat, quote unquote, even though Daisy and Cleo are definitely gonna do all of the work in taking care of it. But I also just love the toddler interactions with animals, so that's kind of the game plan so far. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit ahead of myself when it comes to the story storyline, but I'm just so excited to get back into it. And I do just love this legacy so much. I'm really, really proud of it. But I do find that I need to like check myself sometimes and not like speed run through a challenge. I feel like I do that a lot with challenges where I get so excited to play the next generation that I end up kind of rushing the current generation that I'm on, and I really want to try to not do that this time around. I think that having this Let's Play be on YouTube definitely helps that a lot, because as much as I would love to record a bunch of videos and upload them all for you guys to see, I do really, really like getting your guys' feedback in between episodes. Unfortunately, that does make it so that there's a little bit more time in between episodes, but I just really like hearing from you guys before moving on and filming more. But generally speaking, on my channel, I do want to get into a better uploading schedule and uploading multiple times a week. I'm not exactly sure what that schedule is going to look like at the moment, but all of that being said, I am thinking about possibly doing another challenge if you guys would be interested in that. Of course, it would be alongside the Lucid Legacy challenge, so I would absolutely continue playing this. And I figured if we had two different Let's Plays going on at the same time, it would definitely allow me to upload a lot more frequently. And all of that being said, I may or may not be working on another challenge already. It's not done and it's definitely in the early stages, but I'm really, really excited about it. It is going to be a 12th generation legacy challenge, and I don't want it to take away from the Lucid Legacy challenge or this Let's Play in any way. So I do want to get back into the groove of uploading and playing with this legacy before I add the new challenge into the mix. But I do love the idea of playing two legacy challenges on my channel so that I have all the content to make for you guys, and you guys of course have all the content to binge. So let me know what you guys think about me making a brand new legacy challenge, and if you're excited to check it out. I again, don't want to give away any specifics, but I'm really, really, really excited about this one. Honestly, the way I feel writing it right now is so similar to how I felt when I wrote the Lucid Legacy challenge, and it's been giving me so much inspiration for this game recently, and I feel like I'm back into the mindset where I just want to play Sims like 12 hours a day, to be honest. I'm like back in my Sim Girl era. I'm going to be racking up my hours in this game, and of course, the biggest and best motivator is to make content for you guys. So yeah, I'm really excited for that new legacy. I don't know as of right now when I'm going to be posting the challenge rules, or honestly when I'll even finish the challenge rules, because like I said, they're still a work in progress. But yeah, keep an eye on my socials. I will let you guys know and keep you posted on the status of that. But I think between that new legacy, of course, this one, Lucid Legacy, and new packs coming out, like reviewing the fairy pack that's going to come out. And of course, I do want to continue making little CC haul videos like I've always done. So yeah, I think between all of that, I will definitely have enough content to be able to post multiple times a week, which is again what I want to work up to. Let me know any guesses you have also for the new legacy I'm writing. I feel like a lot of you know me, you know my vibes, you know my gameplay style in The Sims. Any guesses for certain generations or whatever it is, I'm just excited to hear what you guys think, so let me know. I am moving on shortly to refurnishing the bathrooms in this apartment, and I am so obsessed with how the bathrooms came out. It's nothing too crazy, to be honest. Usually bathrooms are like my least favorite part of building. I usually just do the basics. I don't clutter a bunch. I don't know why, it's just one of those rooms that I just don't care to clutter and put that much work into. But of course, being that this is an original Simlissy build and she is amazing at clutter, I did get to use some of that and keep some of that in the bathrooms, which made it a lot easier. But I am absolutely obsessed with the tile that I used for the flooring of the bathroom. I feel like it was so Daisy vibes. Something about the green and orange, like it's her exact colors, and I feel like they look like little flowers on the floor, which is so cute. And I am also obsessed with these sinks that I used in the bathroom. Of course, like I said before, all of the CC will be linked down below. So if you would like to download either of these, you can go check that out. But the sinks are these like colorful mosaic tiles almost. And I just think it looks so fun, so colorful. Honestly, I want them in my house now because I'm so obsessed with it. And in the spirit of being out of my comfort zone for this build, I also ended up doing like bright yellow counters for the bathroom. And I actually think it ends up looking really nice. I feel like since I kept the walls pretty neutral, it doesn't look like overly colorful, but it's definitely not boring. At least I think. Hopefully you don't think so either. Speaking of the walls, I don't actually end up putting a lot of pictures up around the apartment. And I actually did do this intentionally because I do want to take a lot of pictures of Daisy and Cleo and their baby and their family and friends. And I thought that it would be really sweet to have most of the photos in their apartment actually be of the family. Specifically in the hallway of this apartment, I want to end up making it kind of a collage of all of their pictures. And I think it's going to look really, really nice. So as you'll see at the end of this build, the walls do look a little bit bare at the moment, but again, we will be adding to it and cluttering up some more stuff. Oh, another thing I did want to mention, and this does not only go for this video, but for any of my videos and any of my content, I do try and be good about linking CC and being able to have the CC that I use accessible to you guys, especially to give the CC creators credit, which I think is so important. But that being said, I do have a lot of CC in my game, and I'm also very forgetful. So if I ever forget to link CC for you guys, or you see something maybe in the background of my video that I don't end up linking, I do have my inbox open over on Tumblr, and I do recommend going over there to ask me for any CC links. A lot of the times I'll get comments on my videos asking for links to certain CC, and I don't mind finding the CC and giving you the link through YouTube comments, but I do want to start using my Tumblr inbox as more of a space for that. For me, of course, because it's a lot easier to see everything that people are looking for in one place as opposed to going on the comments of all my different videos, but also for you guys as well, because I know that if one person is looking for a specific piece of CC that's in my game, chances are another person is looking for it as well. And y'all know I love to spread the CC love. Whenever I find something that I'm obsessed with, I love to share it with you guys. So I will put the link for my Tumblr as well as a link directly to my Tumblr inbox, where you can always feel free to ask for CC links. If it's something in a video that you're looking for, just go ahead and give me a timestamp or a little description of what you're looking for so that I actually know. And that way I'll be able to link a bunch of stuff for you guys. All right, moving on to Daisy and Cleo's room. I did end up kind of leaving their room a little more bare. I do end up putting a bassinet in there because I usually have my newborns in the bedroom with my Sims and then move them out into their own nursery once they're an infant. But besides that, their room is basically just their bed and their closet and not much else going on. But I want to get both Cleo and Daisy into some new hobbies, so let me know what you guys think they would be into. Of course, Daisy's #1 hobby is video games, and it always has been. But I feel like now that she's a little more settled in her career and she professionally plays video games like all day, every day, I feel like we need to change up her routine a little bit, give her some other hobbies to do outside of video games. I'll probably end up getting them a yoga mat or some workout gear and see if that interests them. I believe this build also has a painting easel on one of the porches that I kept, so maybe we can get one of them into painting as well. But yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that, and I feel like Daisy's life has consisted solely of her video gaming career and her chaotic love life. Honestly, since she's moved to the city, I feel like that is what's consumed her. And now that she's more settled in her career and has a stable, loving partner and is starting a family also, I feel like she needs some new things to just like add to her identity, you know? Oh, I also just remembered, I totally forgot to tell you guys, but Asher is actually living next door to Cleo and Daisy in this apartment. This apartment building in San Myshuno does have 2 apartments. So of course I had to have Asher move into the other one. He might not be our roommate anymore, but he will be our next door neighbor. And of course he is going nowhere in the series. We are going to be keeping up with him and seeing where his life goes, and we're going to be visiting him all the time. I mean, he is about to be an uncle when Daisy gives birth, so he'll be around all the time. And I'm actually kind of excited to see what Asher gets up to autonomously in the game. Of course, for all of season 2 so far, we've been controlling Asher because he was Daisy's roommate, but now that he's in his own household and kind of doing his own thing, I'm really excited to see what he gets up to, specifically when it comes to his love life. Obviously, he doesn't need to settle down or anything, but since Daisy is at that phase in her life, it's kind of making me want Asher to be in that same space as well. I just love the idea of him meeting someone and maybe even having kids, and then our Gen 3 sim will have some built-in besties from Asher. I just think that that would be so cute, so I'm excited to see who he meets and what ends up happening. And speaking of our other neighbors from our old apartment, we didn't really end up vibing too much with Mateo, so I kind of just let him stay in his old apartment and do his own thing. But there is also Liliana, which is Cleo's old roommate, James, who I love so much, and I'm still kind of shipping with Asher, but I don't know if I want to force that, so we'll see what happens. And of course, last but not least, Nathan, who is actually Daisy's baby daddy. So of course he is going to be very important to the storyline, and we'll see him a bunch. But I did end up moving all 3 of those Sims into the same neighborhood that Daisy and Cleo are now living in. Of course, like I said, the apartment that they're living in only has 1 other unit, and Asher is living there. But I did want those other Sims and their friends to be close by, so they are all in the same neighborhood, which is, I forget the name of it, I think it's the Art Quarter or the Arts District or something like that. That's also where Nathan's job is. If you don't remember, Nathan is a chef, and there's a little restaurant that's kind of between Nathan and Daisy's apartment buildings where he works, and I do think it's really cute that they all kind of live and work so close to each other. I describe this generation of Lucid Legacy as being very Friends vibes, like very early on. I might have even said that in season 1 actually, but I definitely still feel like that is holding up. I love that everyone is kind of going in random directions with their lives and doing different things and branching out, but they're still all really close friends and live very close to one another and work very close to one another and things like that. Maybe I'll have to put in a little cafe in the neighborhood as well, and it could be very Friends vibes and they'll meet for coffee all the time or something. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that so you know that our other Sims in this series are definitely still around and we'll be seeing them. So far, since we haven't continued with gameplay, I've really only talked about Daisy and Cleo. But yeah, everyone is still here and still hanging around. All right, and I think I should be coming up on the last room soon. And that last room, of course, being the nursery for our Gen 3 sim. Like I said, Daisy in-game is in her 3rd trimester, so this baby will be coming very soon, possibly even the first episode back once I start doing gameplay again, which is so crazy to think about. And I'll be getting more into this in the gameplay video, but if you don't remember, Gen 3 from this legacy is titled Disillusioned Dreamer, and the vibe for this gen is basically that this sim ends up being so spoiled. Daisy, of course, ends up building her celebrity status and having a good amount of money to spoil her child, and she definitely does just that. Our Gen 3 sim is kind of meant to grow up believing that they can do absolutely anything in the world, which sounds really great and sweet, but they end up being a little out of touch with reality, I guess I should say, when they get older. The way that I see the childhood for this next generation is basically them getting obsessed with different hobbies and aesthetics. For example, I can totally see them having like phases where they're obsessed with, say, soccer for a bit, and they convince their moms that they need to be on the soccer team and they need to have all the best soccer gear. And then the next week, they totally ditch that and move on to a whole different hobby. And then they end up just bouncing around to a ton of different things until they eventually settle on being obsessed with music, and that's like their lifelong obsession. But I'm really, really excited to play this out with this next generation, especially when they're a child, because I feel like a lot of the times I don't really know what to do with my child sims. I feel like a lot of the fun gameplay doesn't really start until they're a teenager, but with this specific generation, I feel like there's going to be a lot to play with for all of their life stages and not just when they're older, so I'm so excited for that. And I thought to start this gen off right, we would make their nursery be very hardcore on theme, no matter what theme that was. I knew I just wanted it to be like a very immersive themed nursery. And kind of as a little nod to our Gen 1 Sims and Season 1 of Lucid Legacy, I decided to make our Gen 3 Sims nursery be outdoorsy themed. At first, I was thinking maybe like jungle themed or farm themed, since of course Daisy grew up on the farm. But I did end up just going for a general forest theme in the nursery, and I love how it came out so much, so I hope you guys do too. Again, I just wanted everything in this nursery to be a hardcore on theme. So we did forest wallpaper where it looks like you're in the trees. The infant playmat that I placed looks like a little picnic blanket almost, and it has a little bear sitting on it. It's so cute. There's lots of little forest animal things kind of placed throughout. There's even a little cloud mobile above the crib, and I think it's so, so cute. I'm really obsessed with how the nursery came out, and so I hope you guys like it as well. And again, I'm just so excited to keep this vibe going for the remainder of Gen 3's childhood. I'm picturing them going through a phase where they're like obsessed with space and rocket ships and stuff like that. And we could put like star night lights up on the walls everywhere. I feel like that would look so, so cool. So yeah, I think that's going to be really fun to play around with going forward. Of course, like I said, this sim does end up being obsessed with music and live performing. But if you have any other ideas for childhood obsessions, like I've mentioned so far, definitely let me know down below. I would love to get some inspiration from you guys, especially if you've already played this legacy, which I know a lot of you guys have. What kind of things did you have your Gen 3 sim get up to before they kind of settled on their life path? I also totally forgot, but someone commented on my speedcast that this Gen 3 baby is going to be the first sim in this legacy that's an infant. And I completely forgot that when Daisy and Henry were born, we did not have infants in the game yet. So this Gen 3 sim is about to be our first infant of Lucid Legacy, which I was about to say is exciting, but I'm already exhausted thinking about it. I think that if there's any generation where I should appreciate having an infant, it's this one, since we're only gonna have one baby. It'll definitely be a lot less stressful. And I refuse to age up the infant early, so we're just gonna have to deal with it, and whatever happens, happens. If it's stressful, it's stressful. That's just how it goes. And honestly, it'll probably make for some fun chaos in the end anyways. Speaking of chaos, I actually ended up kind of redoing the whole entryway of this apartment. To be honest, I actually like the original floor plan that SimLissy made as opposed to my own. But having that small little closet right off the main door was honestly kind of frustrating camera-wise when I was recording and like moving around and everything. Having a little bit more of an open space there just made recording and finding angles a lot easier. So I did end up opening that up a little bit, but I actually really like how it turned out. I think it looked so cute. I did try my hand at a little bit of cluttering, and listen, I'm no professional, but I do think I'm getting better. Again, if you've ever seen me build on Twitch before, you'll know that this is such an improvement in my build style. And as you'll see in a bit, I did place their first family portrait in the apartment. In the future, especially once the baby is born, we're gonna have a ton more family portraits. But as of right now, I've just put up a cute little picture of Daisy and Cleo kind of embracing. They look so sweet. So I kind of wanted to mark that as like the start of many family photos in their apartment. And I did end up putting that right in the entryway when you walk in. And I don't know if it's the best spot for that, so let me know if I should move it. Like I said before, I was thinking that the hallway would be a good spot to kind of display all of their family pictures. So I might actually end up moving it over there instead. But yeah, I really love how this apartment turned out, and I hope you guys do as well. Let me know your thoughts down below. I am so excited to hear from you guys about this build, and I am so excited to get back into gameplay soon with you guys. I know that I've heard from so many of you saying that you cannot wait for me to continue this Let's Play, and I feel the exact same. For my next video, I will be posting a bit of a recap on all of my previous Lucid Legacy videos, because like me, I'm sure that many of you guys need a good recap. But after that, I am finally going to start posting gameplay again, so it shouldn't be too long until our next episode. Of course, as always, I will keep you guys updated here on YouTube and over on my Tumblr and website and things like that. But until then, I am going to leave this voiceover off right here, let you enjoy the end of the build, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, like this video if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. All right, bye my loves.